Good morning. What's the crack? I hope you're well. How are things, lads? We'll just give this a couple of seconds, Facebook to catch up. So Win the Morning TV episode 35. On the video this morning, we're going to talk about your fitness dial. I'll tell you what I mean about that now in a second. So hopefully you're well. Hopefully the weekend went well for you. We're here Tuesday. Normally I do this on a Monday. Was working early yesterday morning, so didn't get a chance to do it, but here we are. Your fitness dial, we're going to talk about it. So if you're listening in this morning, give me a shout in the comments. If you're listening live, if you're watching back on replay, #replay. Hopefully your fitness and your health and your well-being is in a good place at the moment. If it is, or if it isn't, what I'm going to speak about this morning might be of help to you anyway. Okay, so your fitness dial, what do I mean about that? Your fitness dial, think of it like the dial on a radio. Sometimes you need to turn it up. Sometimes you need to turn it down to fit in with your own life schedule. Sometimes you need to keep it about halfway. You should never turn off that radio. You should never turn off your fitness dial fully. I'll explain why now in a second. So this kind of analogy of the fitness dial, the lads on my Real Man coaching program have really started to nail it. So when lads start coming onto the program, or anybody comes in contact with me about the program, I try to get them away from thinking about that all or nothing mindset. It can be good in some aspects in life, but more often than not with fitness, with health, with well-being, having that all or nothing mentality isn't the best way to go about it, because we're always trying to think about long term. Health, fitness, well-being isn't something that you can just switch off where you get to a peak with it and maybe you're at your ideal body composition, maybe you're at your ideal strength. You can't just switch it off and say, right, I'm there now, that's it, I'm happy with that, I don't have to focus on that for the rest of my life. That's not the way it works, unfortunately. It would be great if it did, but what you don't use, you lose. You've probably heard that before, and that's a real kind of life way of thinking about your fitness and your health as well. Okay, so try and get away from that all or nothing mentality. We're always going to have to look after our health. We're always going to have to do something for our fitness. What that is might be different for you, might be different from different stages of your life, but we're always going to have to do something for it. So thinking about the dial on a radio. So if your training, nutrition, program and regime is something like your strength training 3 times a week, like the men on my Real Man coaching, 2 aerobic fitness sessions a week, and then you have a plan for your nutrition, you're looking after your portion sizes, you're looking after your structure of your meals, you're having high quality foods, you're planning ahead, all that good stuff that comes around when you're really looking after your nutrition. Think of that as being where your dial is up. So it's up towards, say, 100 being the top level that it could go to. It's up towards that. And we want to keep it there for as long as possible throughout the year. But then we're going to have to dial it back a bit, because different things come up. We have busy work life, busy family life, holidays come up, different things like that. So instead of switching it off fully and thinking, right, I'm not going to do anything to look after my fitness or health while work is busy or while family life is busy, we need to just dial it down a bit. So instead of those 5 training sessions and being really nailed on with your nutrition, what can you do? What's the minimal amount you can do to get the biggest benefit from it? So that might be, instead of your 3 strength training sessions, you might get 2 15-minute workouts, high intensity workouts at home. It's not ideal, it's not what you want to be doing over the majority of the time, but for this time where you need to dial it back a little bit, it might be ideal. You knock it out and you get it done, and that keeps you progressing. It at least doesn't let you go backwards with your fitness. And the same with nutrition as well. Like, it might be that you're somebody that has a weekly plan, you have your week set up, but because family life is busy, work life is busy, you mightn't be able to nail that 100%, but what can you do? Can you keep your water intake up? Can you continue to eat high quality foods? Can you cook your meals at home? So by doing that, you're going to offset any damage that you might have done if you were just thinking, feck it, I'll just buy all my food from the service station, because I'm busy, I'll just go home and eat whatever's in the presses or in the fridge. And that's what we want to get away from. And sometimes when I'm talking to lads, even when they come onto my program, they're thinking, oh, this month I have a busy month in work, so I'm going to step off, I'm going to step away. And even sometimes lads that aren't on my program are thinking, oh, I've done this before, I was really good for a month, I trained really hard, I was following this nutrition program, I was following this training regime, and then I stopped. And that goes back to that all or nothing kind of way of thinking as well, and you won't get to your goals with that. You'll end up frustrated. You're able to do something once, but think about it for the long term. You're going to be off and on the whole time if it's all or nothing, and if when you're off, you're probably going to go backwards. You're going to put on more weight. Your aerobic fitness is going to dip. You're going to be frustrated with yourself because your body was used to training. Your body knows what you wanted to do or what you were doing, and now that you're not doing it, you're going to end up frustrated, and you're going to go backwards with your whole health and fitness. So think about that dial on the radio. So probably for the majority of the year, if we're looking at it over a year's training plan or training program, think of elite athletes and look at elite athletes. They're not always going at 100%. Sometimes their training program is dialed back, and then they'll dial it up towards a peak. So thinking of all the athletes in the Olympics, so they would have been working off a 4-year cycle. So they wouldn't have been going as hard in month 1 of year 1 as they were, say, about 2 months out from the Olympics, where they were trying to work towards a peak and then maybe stepping back and just letting them enjoy the competition and peak naturally during the competition. It's not always up. You're not always training at 100%, and you don't have to be. And if elite athletes are training like that, then that's the way that we need to train as well. You can't be always going 100%. And on the flip side of that, you don't want to drop off to where you're doing zero either. So it's about having a strategy. Probably the majority of the year, your dial is going to be halfway, where you're in that nice routine that suits you, in consideration of all the other things you have going on. And then maybe for a month, maybe 2 months, you dial it up, you go that little bit harder, you really push everything on to get, maybe you're trying to get to an 18 or 15% body composition before you go on holidays. Maybe you just want to really push things on and test yourself in the gym, really push the body to see where it can go. And that's where you're really pushing hard. And then you need to step back as well and dial back a little bit as well. When there's other stresses in life, like work, family, whatever it is, different things like that, you need to dial back your training a little bit so that the stress, all that stress together isn't overbearing, isn't wearing you down. Okay, but you should never turn it off fully, even when you're on holidays, right? Obviously, when you book your holidays and things like that, you go to enjoy yourself, you have your drinks, you have your food, you enjoy the time with your family, with your kids, with your wife. But if you're somebody that is used to training, your body will probably be craving a bit of movement. So that might be a longer walk down by the beach. It might be doing something active with the kids when you're on holidays. Your body will naturally crave that. And for when you're training, or when you have been training for a longer period of time, you have more leeway then. So if you've been training, strength training, aerobic fitness training, looking after your nutrition for say 2 years, you're going to have way more leeway when, say, you're going out for a few pints with the boys, or when you're going on a holiday. You're going to have way more leeway to be able to eat some of the junk food, have more drink, that kind of thing, because your body has been in a program of training, health, fitness, nutrition for a longer period of time. So the little bit or the few days of not drinking optimally or not eating optimally and having more beer, having junk food, that kind of thing, it's not going to have a massive effect on you, because the majority of the time you're training and eating well. Okay, so your fitness style, would love to know where you're at on that dial at the moment. Are you turned down? Are you in the middle? Or are you turned up? Are you really trying to peak for something? But I think it's a real lesson for everybody, any busy man, anybody at all. and myself as well, sometimes you really have to be conscious of this. It's not about all or nothing. It's about having that fitness style, turning it up sometimes when you want, having it at a medium or in the middle for the majority of time, and then turning it down slightly when you need to. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. If you got something from it, let me know. Throw a comment in below. Hashtag replay if you were watching back on the replay. It was episode 35, Win the Morning TV. Win the morning, win the day. Hope you have a good one. Chat to you soon.